Hey, what's going on guys, it's Chum here and welcome back to another special video. Today we're going to be talking about why I believe Pokemon Sun and Moon are actually the sequels to Pokemon X and Y. Now I don't mean to say that Pokemon Sun and Moon will be the next generation after X and Y, but I mean that it will continue the story that X and Y set in motion. Now the thing that actually sparked this idea initially is the X, Y, and Z movie poster that came out not too long ago. I have the poster on screen right now, and if you look closely at Zygarde's chest, I'll zoom in for you now, you'll see 4 crystals that are blue, turquoise, orange, and red. And you might think that these colors are familiar, and that's because they represent the logo colors of Pokemon X, Moon, Sun, and Y from left to right. When I first saw this, I knew this could not be a coincidence. What are the chances that they would put in these crystal colors? I understand that they are like a gradient, so the colors going from blue to red. Regardless, I still couldn't believe this was just a coincidence, so it got me thinking about the idea of X and Y being connected to Sun and Moon. That's when I realized Zygarde has a little more to do with this. If you look at Pokemon X and Y's Zygarde that you're able to capture post-game, you notice that we actually have the 50% form. And it got me thinking, what if the 50% form in X and Y is meant to be a metaphor for the fact that X and Y only represents 50% of the story? Because otherwise they could have easily just put in the 10% or whatever other percent they wanted, but they specifically chose 50. Another thing that could possibly tie these two games together is Team Flare. Now you may be wondering, what does Team Flare have to do with anything? But if you think about it, Team Flare could easily represent one of the evil sides in Sun and Moon. Just like how Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire had a team based around land and a team based around sea, it's very likely that Pokemon Sun and Moon will have a team based around the Sun and a team based around the Moon. With this being the case, you could obviously see Team Luna or something be the team for the Moon, but at the same time Team Flare is a perfect fit for a Sun team. Now you might be wondering, how can Team Flare be a part of this if we've already defeated them? But if you think about it, this is not the first time that a team would come back after being disbanded. If you think back to Generation 1, Red, Blue, Green and Yellow, you take on Team Rocket and you defeat their leader, causing them to disband. But in Generation 2, some other Team Rocket executives take over and try to bring it back in hopes of finding their leader. This could easily be the same thing that happens in Pokemon Sun and Moon, with one of Team Flare's executives trying to bring back the team. And in fact, it'd be very interesting to see if Malva, the Elite Four member from X and Y, was the Team Flare member to bring it back. It would create a great dynamic having one of the most powerful trainers in a region leading the evil team. Now, one other thing that makes me think this is plausible is that, like I said, with Generation 1 and 2, having sequel games has happened before. Generation 2 continued the story of Generation 1. While you were a separate trainer, the events of Generation 1 still appeared as the past or the history of Generation 2. People knew about a boy who defeated Team Rocket, and in the end, after beating both the Indigo League and the Johto League, you got to face Red atop a mountain. So it's clearly evident that those two stories are one, and why not have the same case with Generation 6 and 7? And finally, you might be wondering, why would they do this again after having Generation 3, 4 and 5 all be exclusive stories? Well, what I have to say to that is, Generation 6 is awfully a lot like Generation 1. If you look at X and Y, you'll notice all these similar trends. You get given a Kanto starter very early on in the game. And not only that, there are very similar encounters across the region. You run into a Snorlax who is blocking your path, as well as you go into a factory that has things that send you flying across the room. Overall, it's clearly apparent that the Pokemon Company are making their more recent games very similar to the early generations. With that being the case, who's to say that they don't want to make the stories continue from one generation to the next like they did at the very beginning? I personally would love to see this, and I think it'd be great to tie all the stories together from here on out and make one giant tale for the world of Pokemon. Either way, that's been my theory for Pokemon Sun and Moon and how the story will play out. I'd love to hear your theories as well, so feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned a little something about Pokemon Sun and Moon. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.